hail tucked to the side. Its meaning is self-evident. He was the first American hanged by the British for spying during the Revolution of 1776. His patriotic last words have been memorialized. I only regret that I have but one life to lose for my country. It stands as a reminder to all spies of the high stakes of their enterprise, as well as the potential outcome if they are discovered. Through the security control area and up the steps are imposing portraits of the 26 CIA directors who've led the agency since its inception. All but 7 I knew personally, from Richard Helms to Gina Haspel. I stopped at each one and reflected on the challenges and transformation that the agency endured during their respective tenures, not always for the better. This special cohort of leaders served the agency and our country, shaped the culture and mindset of the agency, and ultimately determined the path of the Cold War as well as our current course. On the right side of the atrium, paintings depicting key moments in CIA history have been added. One of my favorites shows OSS heroine Virginia Hall cranking out a secret communication while working behind enemy lines in France during World War II. Farther down the hall is a painting of the first Stinger shoot-down of a Russian helicopter in Afghanistan, which took place during my time as chief of the Afghan task force. Nearby is one portraying Tony Mendez, a talented agency undercover tech officer preparing false documents for embassy officials holed up in Tehran after the fall of the Shah. With his help, these officials were able to exit Iran undetected, as depicted in the movie Argo. These were indeed key moments in the agency's history, but I can think of countless more of great merit, and I will cover many in this book. As I drifted toward the front entrance, I was drawn to contemplate the treachery of Aldrich Rick Ames, a mediocre man with an outsized self-image. He was ultimately identified as the traitor whom I believed existed inside CIA ranks. It was frustrating to leave the critically important task of hunting down another key mole, but it is a reality of the intelligence world that the work is never really done. FBI Special Agent Robert Hansen, who, like Ames, was remarkable only for the depth and impact of his perfidy, was eventually exposed in 2001. In the last moments before my departure, I thought about the victory over the Soviets in Afghanistan and the many high-level spies we ran inside the Soviet Union. Soviet agents such as General Dmitry Polyakov and Adolf Tolkachev, who paid with their lives to deliver critical Soviet state secrets. Still, I didn't appreciate at the time how our critical victory in the Cold War would not put an end to Russian aspirations and how our struggle with Russian intelligence would endure to this day. Russia never abandoned its spying program or its active measures operations. It has become increasingly clear, ever more so since former KGB operative Vladimir Putin's power has become more entrenched, that Russia's aggressive behavior has ramped up to an unprecedented level, breaching long-standing norms and actively seeking to subvert the Western democratic order. Furthermore, Russia has capably shifted the struggle to a new arena, cyberspace, where the SVR and GRU and their proxies have managed to develop powerful capabilities and wage asymmetrical warfare to great effect. With my last long walk through the agency halls as an active-duty officer behind me, little did I know, little did the U.S. intelligence community know, that Russian covert action and espionage against the United States would continue unabated, taking forms both familiar and new. I walked out the front door of CIA headquarters with these deep-seated memories and my personal Spymaster's Prism, a unique and intelligence-seasoned way of looking at the world. Intelligence Matters and Moscow Rules. The last few years have seen a steady flow of new information and intelligence community conclusions about the extent of Russia's ongoing efforts to penetrate and influence the U.S. government and its democratic processes. Although these conclusions have been the subject of some debate, a Senate Intelligence Committee report released in April 2020 confirmed the intelligence community's findings that Russia intervened in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. However, it would be naive to think that having its activities discovered would trigger Russia to rein in its political meddling in the United States and elsewhere. Russia's dramatic loss of global clout in the wake of the Soviet Union's dissolution has obscured the fact that for most of the last 3 decades, it has not only sustained an aggressive stance toward collection and even active measures in the United States, but also aggressively sought to regain its sphere of influence. As recently as February 2020, news surfaced that Putin was renewing pressure